Evidently it was a mistake.
I'll call Honey tomorrow.
It's one of those things.
Well, you know, it's one of those things you go out and you verify and you audit. You don't disbelieve when you're getting those kind of deals.
Right, it was
You
after
just can't. By the way, I love our engineer today. I can't say no.
Show that one out.
Trust
Yes,
there.
right.
There you go. I'd like to wish you all a wonderful holiday because we probably will see you. We've got somebody else who wants to.
Quick one.
Okay.
Before you left.
So we get your camera?
This sucker on. Tangentially,
Yes.
a tangential piece of information. How many units are currently in the approval pipeline before the planning board?
You mean in an application stage somewhere along the line?
I have no idea, because a number of them have pulled out. Some of them have just disappeared. I know we had one for about 500 disappeared, another for 200 disappeared. I would guess it's somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500, but I could, give me some time, I can probably pull those numbers.
What was the maximum we had back at the peak when everything was?
2,200,
2,200, 2,500 houses.
And it over 3.
We had over 3.
Yeah, I remember having heard that it was over 3.
But I can tell you some of the big ones that are still alive and well. Heritage one, Lonos another. Rieger, so that on Craigville. ADC or Maplewood. So there are a lot of them out in that end that are very alive and well. And will come to pass.
On another tangent, coming back to the budget approval process and what you had said at that point, and the headlines that have been popping up recently about the state have been increasingly troublesome. You guys have been right on the mark. If anything, not dark enough in your outlook. Today's headline is very troubling, with the cash having evaporated, and the strictures that are clearly going to be coming down the road. Coming off of that, I've raised the issue here before about the Matthews Street underpass and the upgrade of 17 to I-86. Has there been any communication from Scott Geiger and the DOT?
Not to me.
Nothing. Because we're up next, and I'm really afraid that they're just going to bypass because they don't have the cash. It's 80% federal funds, but if they don't have any cash, that 20% could kill it.
Well, didn't Senator Schumer just come out and say, request the federal government to give the money so you continue that project to completion?
I don't know.
The state's got to put 20% in that.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm just saying, I know Schumer doesn't have the federal money.
I think I've communicated to a couple of you privately that I spoke to John Szymanski back in the spring. The light finally went on in my head that I had been assuming that this was basically a local and a DOT decision in concert as to what got built. And then I was on the county website and going through some documents, and I finally realized that it's the county that sets the agenda for the state DOT prioritizing the projects. And that's not going to happen without the county getting behind it and prioritizing. I have not reached out to him since. I should, but it also wouldn't hurt for the town to reach out to the county and say, listen, this project is important to the town. If that underpass doesn't get redone so that it's two-way, it's going to kill that whole corridor, which could just produce a flower of ratables, a flowering of ratables.
Well, on Monday night we had an applicant come in, or they haven't applied yet. They did apply?
Yeah, we had staff meeting with them this morning.
Okay. For a 30-acre warehouse.
I was here.
Yeah. Okay, but a 30-acre warehouse.
Right.
That's a pretty big building.
And it's right on that 17M corridor.
And it's right on 17M.
And you know what that's going to, I mean, the traffic up there already is like Long Island.
Yeah, sure.
On that corridor, any time of the day. Used to be just in the afternoon, now it's all day long. It's bumper to bumper, constant flow. Eventually they're going to have to widen it. But that all feeds down to Goshen, and essentially, if it's southbound traffic, skirts because it's fed right out onto the highway. And if it is local traffic, then that becomes a safety concern, because you're taking slow-speed traffic, putting it into high-speed traffic, and then taking it off within 3/4 of a mile.
Sure.
So it's a real safety concern.
Right.
But you funnel that down the service road and make it continuous from Bloomingburg down to Central Valley, and it just opens up that whole corridor along 17 between Goshen and Chester, along Matthews Street. I know one entity that is going to be approaching the village for development along that strip between Greenwich and South Street. I imagine there will be others. I mean, it's primed for development.
Sure.
But
Right.
plus as well, if that opens up, it'll feed traffic into West Main Street. It'll feed traffic.
Well, what we've got to do, we just got to sit back and wait and see what happens financially. I think what I heard in the paper, and I heard read in the paper, New York State is out of cash between now and the end of the year. The state legislature has not done the job of figuring out how they're going to save all this money, that $4 billion.
But the real question that you pointed out applies to the state as well as the town.
Right.
It's not this year, it's next year.
Oh, no, I understand that. And my concern,
And that's going
and
to be...
I mean, I was just looking today, we were going through the bills and the vouchers, and I see 3 or 4 capital expenditures in there that I'm so sorry that they got purchased, because, we've got to tighten up as a board ourselves. We've just got to do a better job. The state owes us $35,000 for the MTBE thing. Sooner or later we'll get that. We've got a police car that Senator Larkin gave us. The likelihood of getting that is getting diminished every day.
But the problem, Doug, is you can only tighten spending so far.
Well, absolutely, we understand.
You've got to look at the other end of
We're looking at
the telescope.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have the revenue and you can do so much on spending, well, then you've got to go to the next step.
You've got to look at revenue, and that's my concern about this highway project, is that it's stimulative of economic activity.
Right.
And that's what needs to happen in this community. We've got to generate more revenue. You guys have done, gold star work. The village also has tightened up on spending quite a bit.
Right.
But if you're not promoting revenue, then it's like a home budget. You can't spend what you don't have.
Well, and you can clip and snip. Like, both people in a family can be employed, but you think, well, you know what, we want to do this, and you clip and snip it. But when when the main breadwinner loses their job, they say, now it's time for dramatic action. And so I think
you can cut back and you can cut back and you can cut back, but eventually you have to eat and you have to pay your rent.
Sure.
There are basics that you can't avoid.
And I think that in 2010, what the town of Goshen board has to do is to instill in the department heads of all our departments and the employee the reality of what we're dealing with. Because we can't be there every moment to curb spending when they've got the shovel. I just want to look at this water main break. If we could put a camera back and say, okay, how could we have done this as quickly, more cost effectively? I don't know if it could or couldn't, but we ought to question those kinds of things. But that's what I'm talking about. That's how we're going to keep our head above water in 2011.
Well, if there's any way in which, just to finish up on that, if there's any way in which this board can reach out to the county and let the county know how important it is to the locality, whatever political influence you have, I would urge you to use.
Okay. Very well taken. Okay, any other items?
I just got one.
Yes.
One last comment. They said, I think Monday night, are not going to ever be used again. So if you write a letter, supervisor writes a letter requesting that they be removed from here, they will remove them. They have a tremendous problem with storage space. So not every municipality is actually requesting that, but I kind of got a heads up. So you make the request to the supervisor, they'll remove them, and then we can take them off the insurance.
Well, we can leave them there and the insurance come out.
They're ugly to sin over there.
Well, no, I'm saying they're going to
Oh, well, but no, they're I want to get them off our insurance. It's going to, as Brian said,